I've sat through all the hearings that we've had in this committee, and one of the hearings we had the chief executives from all the other major oil companies, not BP, but Chevron, ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, and Shell. And it seems that we've made great progress in the methods of drilling, getting the oil out, but very little progress in a response plan and preventing a disaster. The other oil executives were all quick to say that what happened with BP wouldn't have happened with them, with their company, because they built things differently, the plans were differently. But yet, it seemed to me that everyone else had exactly the same plan for a response. So I'm wondering if you could tell us your thoughts on this. I mean, it certainly seemed that BP cut corners in order to save money. Could this happen again? And what would happen if a second major blowout occurred while Unified Command and oil spill response equipment and personnel were busy battling the Deepwater Horizon spill?
Mr. Chairman, I very much appreciate your statement, and let me just say we very much agree with you. In fact, if you take a look at the three central questions, perhaps the two that are most obvious for me today right now is the oil spill response capacity. Representations that were made with respect to skimming, for example, that really have not borne out to be true. The issue of oil blowout containment programs. We have now every day from almost the very beginning, I have a U.S. lead call with BP every morning where we go through the strategy that they are unfolding relative to the next containment program. I've watched effort after effort fail, some partially succeed, and now hopefully moving to ultimate success. So in the context of that dynamic, it has seemed to us that it would be imprudent to move forward with a lifting of the moratorium until we get some answers to those basic questions.
I couldn't agree with you more. Let me ask you this. The Associated Press recently reported that there are 27,000 abandoned wells in the Gulf of Mexico on federal leased lands. Now, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that abandoned wells sometimes leak. So what tools do we have, and what additional tools would you need to keep these abandoned wells safe?
I have asked Michael Bromwich to develop some recommendations on how you deal with these abandoned wells. In some ways, it is very reminiscent of a problem that some members of the committee are familiar with respect to abandoned mines. Once they're abandoned, no one owns them, and there's not a lot that sometimes can be done for a very long time. So I would hope that as part of our overall Gulf Coast restoration plan and dealing with oil and gas production, that is an issue that can be addressed perhaps both legislatively as well as dealing with the resource issues that would be required in order to deal with the abandoned wells.